What is good, my fellow peasants? How you doing? I have just woken up. It is 8 o'clock in the morning. Hobo hair engaged, but I woke up hankering to cover me some Ardyn. So in this video, guys, I'm going to cover everything Ardyn related, all the really cool stuff from the anime, director's interviews, stuff going forward, stuff we know about the episode, because I've got to admit, guys, when I first saw, I'm so excited this video, when I first saw the episode Ardyn anime, I came away, that was pretty good, but was it really anything we didn't know? We kind of knew the outline of everything. There's a few details here, but upon watching it, revisiting it for my blind react, there is a lot more information, so I hope to cover that in this video. So if you are interested in a most auspicious of Ardyn breakdowns and anything Ardyn related, stick with me, because this is a totally unscripted video. I have basic notes. This is going to be very off the cuff, guys. So starting with the episode Ardyn anime, going through what I missed from my blind react, because it was blind. And it was at times actually very difficult to understand exactly what the wording meant. A lot of it was very obscure and took a little bit more digesting to actually understand what was being said. And they've left out a lot of teasy weasy. So first things first that I didn't pick up from our blind react is the detail that Ardyn and Aera were actually beloved. So they were actually betrothed. The only woman who ever loved Ardyn. And Somnus went and did her rotten. Real bad. Not only did Ardyn get his throne stolen, not only did he have his sacrifices erased from the memories of the people and history, totally selfless sacrifices, he also had his woman stolen from him. And this whole thing with Aera is so much more important than I thought, because when we go over to the director's Q&A, they spoke quite a lot about Aera, so they've really pinpointed her as an important story in the 15. To think we're now getting such a central figure to the 15 story this many years later is wild. But Aera was the first of the oracles. She was confirmed to be one of Luna's ancestors, but the Q&A director said exactly where the first oracle came from, or why they came into being, Aera. That's unclear. They don't have detailed story components for that. And I've got to say that is slightly confusing, because we was told that Ardyn was an oracle. So it seems like there were two oracles at this point, and Ardyn and Aera were clapping oracle cheeks together. But her design, when I saw it, I instantly went, that is so Luna Freya. That is actually very intentional. They've made Aera and Luna look intentional, very similar. They've also done that for Somnus and Noctis. It was a very intentional design choice, and I guess it's just Ardyn having to witness a parallel of what he suffered 2,000 years ago. Noctis reminds Ardyn of Somnus and Luna of Aera, and that's actually why Luna gets a lot of hatred and vehemence from Ardyn, because Ardyn doesn't want to see any other woman in his beloved's oracle role. Kind of like Aera with Somnus. Well, we just got to say that and twist your stomach up. But some of the other things I missed from the Ardyn anime before I get real deep. Gilgamesh, I did notice him towards the end. I can't believe I didn't notice it earlier. They were flashing all over the show. But there was actually one frame where we saw Gilgamesh without his helm. And it was this here. He looks straight up like a Galoof. That is a Galoof 2.0. And yeah, it's so much more significant now with Gilgamesh and how that makes Gladio's DLC play, considering we're fighting the dude who basically aided in all of this. Gilgamesh aided Somnus, and supposedly their relationship does go really deep. They used to go fishing together, hunting together. One of Somnus's favourite hobbies is napping. Well, we heard that before, and I mean, literally this interview went into childhood hobbies. Another one that they had was chess, and supposedly Somnus and Ardyn play chess together. Where does that ring a bell? Where did that ring? They used to play chess together, but either way, they were very, very different. There were two sides of a different coin. Somnus was a very severe king, but he was also a realist. So Somnus wanted to try to resolve the Starscourge situation through severity, but also what he viewed as practicality. And he believed just wiping anyone out or even close to the infection of the Scourge was the best way to go. Realistically, what I like about this dynamic is Somnus isn't wrong. he isn't wrong. I mean, you could question his morality, but is he actually wrong in taking that route to solution? Not necessarily. Whereas Ardyn, he kind of, at that point, he had more of a heroic fantasy version of saving it. He wanted to be the savior of the realm and to lead the people out of the illness. The exact word was a dreamer. Basically, a realist versus a dreamer. That's Ardyn and Somnus chalked up, but apparently Ardyn and Somnus, they didn't actually have a bad relationship, even at the end. The directors were clearly saying that Somnus doesn't actually hate Ardyn. It's just this difference of opinion, this difference of view, that is, which, this is what I love. I love covering this kind of stuff, Square. This is what 15 should have been throughout, like, so much juicy dynamics and story we could have got into. But yeah, that goes all the way back to their childhood. They had a pretty good childhood. Somnus actually looked up to Ardyn. It really was just this difference of opinion that caused the divide and caused the conflict. Remember, guys, nothing is ever good or bad. Only think it makes it so. But also going into some other hobbies. So that was Ardyn. I think Aera's hobbies were archaeology and flower growing, which supposedly Luna, that is a thing that Luna has as well. Now, I didn't actually know that Luna likes flower growing, so shit the bed, Square. That goes to show how wrong you've done, Luna. I didn't even know that. I knew she went into flower fields and the whole thing with the sylph blossoms. I just thought that was a calming spot for her, but she likes growing them. Girl who likes growing flowers gets murderously killed. Where have I heard this? Where? But Aera had that hobby as well, and I think that's supposed to be the symbolism of sylph blossoms. It's a connection, a tether all the way back to the first oracle, to Aera, and supposedly that has been intentional, but it was never really shown in the game, so we didn't really know fully what sylph blossoms represented. Now, one thing I want to pull up with the Ardyn anime is I haven't looked at them fully. I haven't got the images, so when I show them here, the flowers might be different, but from what I vaguely caught out, one thing that really confused me was the sylph blossoms were white. We see them as kind of a purplish hue in the game, but Aera's standing them in their white, and even when things started going bad during the episode Ardyn anime, we actually saw one frame of them looking red. I don't know if the sylph blossoms and their colour have some meaning, but considering how much the director spoke about it, we might find a bit more context to what the flower's about, or what the symbology of them are. I don't know. I personally think it could quite easily represent the balance of light, of nature at that point, how much the Scourge has taken over, perhaps when things start going in balance, or dark energies or events that obviously have planetary-wide implications start happening. Maybe that's why they're changing. I don't know. But either way, one of the other hobbies that Aera had, and this got me excited, was archaeology. And one scene from the episode Ardyn anime, which was a strange scene to put in because it seemed very out of context. It didn't seem like what was the purpose of it. They had Ardyn meet his fiance. They went into these ancient ruins. There was like this waterfall, but nothing was actually really said during this scene. Nothing huge, other than that Aera said that she would never forget Ardyn. But archaeology, that is by no means an unintentional hobby they've given her, because a huge part of Final Fantasy 15 is all of this mysterious archaeology, and I'm actually going to leave a link in the video, because even while watching the Ardyn anime, I can't quite work out where it was they were going. I don't know if anyone can give me any better insight, or if you guys know, or you can link it up to the game. I'm terrible at detecting archaeology, and that's why this video on Solheim was actually mostly Perona 77. They were husband and wife. They came up with this elaborate but beautifully explained explanation of what all this ancient Solheim technology was about or used for. And there was so much that I could definitely get on board with. One thing that one place I thought this could be might have been Coastal Mark, because it was very it had a tower-like structure. You also see these skeletons down there, which of course is really important, because if Ardyn saw that back when he was a healer, when he turns into a demon, that's going to be a ripe spot for him to go and perform some necromancy. And I say Coastal Mark because there was the waterfall, and what we see for Coastal Mark is it kind of, some sort of anti-gravity magic is working there, because it kind of put you in this watery dome, which was a strange design. But part of Perona's explanation, you can go obviously check the video if you want to see more. I liked it. It kind of They explained how it might look like a birthing canal, like inside one, and that Solheim back in the day, they were experimenting with reanimation, with necromancy, with immortal life, and it does make a lot of sense, hence why we see the chambers in the catacombs very similar to the Magitech, how the Magitech infantry are structured and organised. We see the same kind of access channels and points that could have people in there. Obviously there's a lot of corpses down there, and just the whole birthing canal representing rebirth makes a lot of sense considering the final boss of Coastal Mark is Quetzalcoatl, which is the Aztec god for fertility. So I love it. So maybe them showing that in the Ardyn anime, they intend to go even further with it, further forward, and explaining some of the archaeology and the history of Solheim, which would be so very nice, especially considering, although maybe not, because Ardyn did specifically say in the anime that even they didn't know who had created these ruins, what the civilization was, what happened. All of that had been lost into obscurity, but the one thing that tethers all of it, the one thing that tethers that archaeology in that time, that Solheim period, and now, is Ifrit. Definitely Ifrit, and this is going to be a big boy. This is going to be a big player. So Ifrit got dropped when he tried to turn on Solheim back in the day, and he ravaged through the towns and these archaeology locations, turning them into rack and ruin. Now we see in Insomnia he's going to be doing the exact same thing. That was such a hype scene. Total chaos. It looked manic, but I love Ifrit's design. I love where he could be in the story more than where they actually have put him. So I hope that this is a really place for him to shine, and maybe we see how Ardyn goes about getting Ifrit on his side. Is it just through a Star Scourge infection, or is there elements of Ifrit that still wants to see humanity destroyed? Some leftover vengeance, and perhaps it will be Ifrit who will be the link back to that time of obscurity that we do not know about. So that's my thinking anyway. Now what else do we have? Okay, so one other thing from the anime that I saw was the vision that Aera had. Now, I was actually considering doing a full-blown theory on this. I might still do it if I flesh my thinking out, but Aera saw a vision in the crystal, and this was what I feel is going to be such a crucial moment. Like, that could be such a huge point, and considering how much the directors are hinting at huge secrets and twists, I feel that when Aera was looking into that crystal, it kind of flashed Bahamut for a second, she saw something. Her reaction was really stunned, but her actions after that are what's really telling. After that, she went from keeping her distance very much from Somnus to saying that she would trust and go with him. Then we went into the final scene, which was such bullshit. So Somnus lures Ardyn on the notion that he has been picked, that the crystal has chosen him. And I've got to say, where did that information came from? Did it came from Aera? And I think it might, because I don't think Ardyn would have trusted Somnus on this one. He knew that he was a very severe realist king who wanted the throne at this point. So I actually think maybe Aera did tell Ardyn he was chosen, that Ardyn was actually picked. And that's most telling, because when Somnus revealed during the ceremony that actually he was the king who was picked, and he had to just lie to get this salacious traitor here, Aera's reaction was what? It was a knee-jerk what? As in, Somnus had just told a porky, a little fibby, and that actually Ardyn was chosen. So that's huge. That puts a whole other layer of implication, or maybe context to the summons, because I always thought, what an arsehole-ish thing for the summons to do, to give this man a power to absorb a scourge, which is infecting him, and then calling him unworthy because of it. But what actually might have happened is Ardyn was worthy, even when he was absorbing the scourge. But it was upon Somnus getting Ardyn to crack and to, I suppose, release the inner beast, that was what made Ardyn unworthy. So Somnus orchestrated precisely the circumstances that would get Ardyn rejected by the crystal. And to say he doesn't actually hate his brother. He was smirking during the bloody fight against him. But that does also put a huge load of weight on what Somnus said, that he's actually now turned into the monster I made him out to be. Got him rejected by the crystal, hence why when Ardyn goes up again, he gets rejected. But the reason why I think that what Aera's vision was more than just Ardyn, you're worthy, you're the king, because her reaction wouldn't have been that aghast at Ardyn being made king. In fact, that's what she was expecting. He was the older, he was the healer. He was going to be her fiance. I don't think she would have reacted that way. I'm thinking, did Aera see something bigger? Something huge? Because the fact they showed Bahamut in the crystal, and the crystal is a timeless space. No, it exists outside of space and matter and time. Did she see all the way into the future? Did she see when Noctis stood before Bahamut? What did Bahamut communicate to her? Did Aera know that the only way to actually save the world was that she actually had to help both brothers? That both brothers, with their opposing views of how the Star Scourge should be dealt with, neither of them were right in their individual outlooks, but together, that was the solution. And if Aera saw a vision similar to that Ardyn had to survive for thousands of years, and he had to build up all of that scourge and that resentment to eventually trigger a true King of Light, not a false one like Somnus, because she still didn't like Somnus. So yeah, you guys get it. I will I will happily ramble for hours in this video, but I'm going to try to keep it concise. So yeah, I got a feeling maybe Aera did see the overarching prophecy. Now, even if you just see the book, like the cosmogony books, and you've got like the bros in there, like this thing has been foretold and prophesized all the way back to ancient times. So if Bahamut gave her a vision of that, then Aera would have known. And now we see Noctis, and I never got this overbearing sense of hatred between Ardyn and Noctis. Maybe with Ardyn sometimes, but I don't think it was directed toward Noctis. Because what I think is, when you see Ardyn dying and you see Noctis saying, "You can rest now," and the way that Ardyn tips his hat to Noctis at the end, there was this air of respect between them. Respect and sympathy that, why would Noctis have that for Ardyn, considering he's killed his girlfriend, he's, been directly involved in killing his dad, destroying his entire kingdom. Why would Noctis have anything but hatred left? And indeed, if Somnus reminds Ardyn of Noctis, why wouldn't Ardyn have anything but hatred? That if both of them know that they combined are fulfilling the prophecy, neither right or wrong, nothing is either good or bad. The whole verse is shebang-a-lang, like that. I feel like that was, from day one, the intention with Ardyn's character, that he wasn't the villain we thought he was. So that really, I'm starting to get hints that my question of, did Ardyn actually do everything required to actually just delete the Scourge? I think we're getting close to the answer to that being yes, but it's cool. I really like it. It's exciting. One other thing that was, damn this squeaky ass chair. Just so you know, guys, I really want all of your feedback. Theory, craft, speculate. Give me all of the deets that I've missed down in the comment section below. We're going to build up this portfolio of dank together. So one of the other things that was curious was they said that when Ardyn was locked away for 2,000 years, they took away his name, Ardyn Lucis Caelum, and they called him Adagium. They knew him as Adagium. Now, I'm surprised that they didn't actually go for Nadir. I really thought they would have gone for Nadir. We still don't know who Nadir is. If you wonder what I'm talking about, there was all the old quotes about rotted sky above, below, in my pants, everything. That was written by somebody called Nadir, which is a very loose, if you take a Y for an N, anagram of Ardyn. But no, Adagium is the name they called him. And it's actually quite cool because that's another Latin name, which a lot of the names in 15 are. But this is a Latin for adage, which is a saying that sets forth a general truth and that has gained credit through long use. Oh, that is a real stinger. Like, that is the shadiest thing they could have called Ardyn. Because again, he had his entire worth, his entire contribution to mankind, his savioring, totally erased by time. And that makes it all the more powerful when Ardyn's final words were, "Will you erase me once more?" History was rewritten by the victors. It was rewritten by Somnus. Ardyn was eliminated and all of his actions were rewritten, and it gained credentials and credence through time. Man, I feel so many feels for Ardyn, but bruh, come on, when you knew what the pain of losing your Oracle was, did you really need to take Luna out before we had even a single date scene? God damn it, Ardyn! Okay, so moving on. Okay, a few other little details. Around the hobbies, we also weirdly found out birthdays. This is cool because, again, I always said where it fits in the timeline. I've not done a full dive on that, but giving you the brief outlines of it. Ardyn's birthday is April the 30th, Why April? They actually went into that because April is the month of the diamond, I think it is, represented with diamond, which is strong will. So they gave a lot of characters with a strong will in the game, the birthday of April. And because this happened 2,000 years ago, they actually went into how old Ardyn might be, which is 2,033 years old. But it's not set in stone. 2,033 years old. Okay, who else do we have? Aera's birthday is July the 4th, and she's 28 years old. And as for Somnus, he's May the 9th, and he is 30. So because Ardyn is older than Somnus, and he's 30 in 2033, I'm going to say that during this anime, Ardyn is 33 years old. Aera 28. Oh yes, and also with hunting, supposedly Somnus went hunting often with Gilgaloof. They went hunting together. Not bad childhoods. They also had the question asked of them during this Q&A, which I'll leave a link in the description. Which can I just very quickly give a shout out to these three directors. Like, let's just give these three new fresh faces a little bit of, I won't say praise because we haven't seen their work yet, but a little bit of acknowledgement that they've taken on this really tricky project. Like, 15 has been a bugger to make. It's been a real bugger, and there's been 10 years of built up material for this. And it's not even that, and now these guys are having to come on running such a huge project on the fly. Directors gone, we've got to pick it up with totally different looking characters, and at that point different characterizations and entirely new concepts. And they even acknowledge how big a challenge this is, because it's just so different. It's just so different to the rest of what we've seen in 15. So shout out to these guys. But one of the other questions they got thrown out was, is there any chance we see anything about Ignis's and Gladio's ancestors? Don't know why they said Ignis and Gladio. They missed out Prompto, but considering Vestal is very heavily going to be in this as well, very heavily, that's pretty cool. I suppose we don't really need much more, but they said we'll probably never question mark. But they did say that Clarus, Gladio's father, is going to be featured quite heavily in episode Ardyn. I liked Clarus as character. I don't know why. I thought he was dank. In Kingsglaive, he stood up. He stood up. I like you, Clarus. Make some waves in the episodes. Another question they had was, why is Ardyn's chocobo black? I'm loving these questions, whoever's throwing them, because I've been very much wondering how much of the old imagery, that's why I keep pointing this way, and it's been this side the whole time, I'm sorry. We keep seeing imagery, and I'm wondering how relevant all of this old imagery we used to see is. How much it will be. So Ardyn riding in on a black chocobo, supposedly this is actually very relevant, more than just relevant in fact, is this could actually be, I'm not shitting you, quote, the key to all the secrets. The chocobo could be the key to all the secrets. They were like, this is a huge secret, we can't tell you, this is spoilerino's 3.0. Wow, I mean chocobos could be the secret to all of it. I mean, it feels like when Lucas said that Jar Jar could be the link to everything. But it might not be just because of the chocobo. It might actually be more because of the colour, perhaps, because supposedly during modern FF15 times, chocobos in their blackiest colour are rare and basically extinct. But 2,000 years ago, they were a bit more common. And obviously because they're black, and the Lucis family have a very strong reason for having the colour of black as their main household colour. That's why Ardyn naturally chose a black chocobo. So the colour black, we've had stuff on this before. It dates way back to Versus Day, where they were going to be death worshippers. 100% they were going to be worshippers of Etro, the old FNC. God, I mean, you could literally see it still in the Lucis emblem, the single wing and the skull. And they were going to be like a mafia family back in the day. The Lucis family were never intended to be the good guys. And I think what we're seeing from episode Ardyn is a lot of that returning. You know, a lot of the clear framing that I was really disappointed to see missed in the main 15. They made Regis and Noctis and the Lucians, they made them seem like the good guys when they never have been. And now we're seeing episode Ardyn showing that their entire household was founded on a lie, founded on a betrayal. Hopefully this is why it talks about the colour black, and that aspect, the darker aspect of the Lucis family, is returning. I love it! I love it, it's great. What else do we have? Not much else, guys, not much else. Aera with her visions. Yeah, so I think between the anime and the Q&A. That's most of what I wanted to cover, but let's quickly talk about going forward. The novella that is coming out, or novel, I don't know which. What's the difference between a novella and a novel? I don't know. A book of unspecified numbers of pages that they said is definitely coming to Japan, but we'll try to do a Western adaptation. I swear to God, you make me wait 6 months to get that son of a bitch. I'm gonna be real salty square. Don't leave us too long, I swear, because the cancelled DLCs, which were episode Aranea, episode Luna, although Aranea, I've got to say, don't actually expect Aranea in this book, because Aranea was always specified as more of a 0.5 kind of DLC rather than a 1. Smaller type of DLC. And so whether that's going to be in this Dawn to the Future, I would be speculative on that, but I would love to see what they have planned with Aranea. Everyone loves Aranea. Everyone. But definitely the episode Noctis, what was going to be in Noctis's DLC, or what they was going to call the grand alternate finale, and the Luna Freya. So what Luna was doing during the game, and I've got to say, to see this coming back as a novel, I do have some feelings, and it's not all good, but it's not all bad. It's just because, most of you know, the second I heard about a grand alternate finale, I said straight off the bat, okay, so similar to what they did with Ignis, they took it down a divergent path, no explanation or context as to why, and now they're going to be doing it again for Noctis, but in a version that very clearly hints that Noctis is going to survive. You know, it spoke about overturning the fate of the Lucian King, how Luna does that for her beloved, and we see the picture of the bloody book. They're actually alive. Actually alive. I mean, I doubt this is in the afterlife. I feel like this novel is going to be the happy ending. This is going to be the version of events where Noctis actually wins. He actually pulls through. He actually leads his people into a future rather than just being its sacrificial lamb. So the Lucius house continues, which so many questions, and how Luna's going to do that. But what I'm beginning to get a feeling with, so I'm going purely into speculation now, is I feel like going back to that point of Ardyn and Noctis together, the relationship or the dynamic that is fated to save the Scourge. Is it both of them? And have there been multiple cycles of Noctis failing? You know, like the Omen trailer where we clearly saw that he had failed and he had fallen. And I had this whole theory, again, I'll leave a link in the description because this was one of my favourite theories. Regis controls time. You know, he's looping time, that's why he's asking for forgiveness, until his son can eventually have his happy ever after. Hence why we see at the end of the 15, the car pushing scene starts over again. Out of nowhere, it just started over again after Regis narrated a happy ending. So what could this all be part of this grand alternate finale that Noctis survives? That actually, and I don't know if Ardyn somehow is going to survive into that or be involved in that, or maybe Ardyn finally, after multiple renditions of the 15 cycle happening, his vengeance and hatred dies down a little bit, and it gives him some clarity, and he has like a last ditch chance to do what he was originally fated to do, what Aera wanted him to do, which was to survive and save the world. And when we start seeing episode Ardyn, with Somnus over his shoulder as a troll saying, no, kill the Oracle like I killed, I'm just wondering if perhaps this good side of Ardyn that we very clearly saw and Square made so poignant, if that could return somehow, and that's how Noctis has the happy ever after. I actually feel like that would be so wholesome and rounded. If it could end that way, I feel like I'd be happy with that. It would be very strong for the character of Ardyn to merge the hateful side and the old side. It would be almost kind of Kai's ballady as well. I won't say anything too much for spoilers. Anyone who played the trilogy, but if you know Kai's ballad's full story, you know what essentially happens there. And for me, that placed him as one of the top of my favourite villains. But what are my reservations about all of this is, again, are you going to go to that length of explanation and tying it together? Are you going to leave us hanging like you did with episode Ignis? Because if you just bring out a novella book and you give Ardyn, Noctis and Luna a happy ending with no explanation as to why, you just kind of do it. And nothing else to supplement or explain or compartmentalize exactly what this means. You know, if you're just going to go to fans, oh, here you go, you've had your happy ending, your sad ending. You can pick. We're going to be having people argue about the bloody 15 story for years to come. For years to come, when I remember when Ultimanias, they didn't even come to the West, that were vaguely translated in Japan because they were canonical over there. You'd start getting fans arguing about story details and what was actually what and what actually happened and what version of events went down. And that would be really crappy, also considering you can't expect that many people to read a novel book. Like, come on, Square, you've made even hardcore Final Fantasy fans jump through hoops to get all of this story. I've had to read interviews and articles. I've had to depict and break down artworks and symbology all over the bloody show. I've had to watch movies. I've had to watch anime. I'm saying I had to. Like, oh, I'm such a victim. You've made me do all of this. But you know what I mean. You shouldn't be having to now also go out and buy and read a book years after the game to get something as quintessentially as important as the main character and the villain actually having a completely altered fate at the end. I'm done on this early ass morning. I haven't even had my coffee yet. Hopefully that is coherent. But I really want to know what you guys think. Any kind of speculations. Subscribe Irenios and hit the bell button, because when episode Ardyn comes, I'm going to be playing this boy live. I'm also going to probably, off the back of it, go into a free-for-all frenzied orgy of 15 content, because this is what I like. I actually feel the enthusiasm and the passion and the excitement and the interest and the exploration that I made this YouTube channel for. This is what I made it for. This is what got me passionate about doing this channel, and it was this kind of 15 content here. And I didn't really think I would get this again until the 7 remake stuff started coming. But this is more than enough juice for me to let my goose loose on. So let me know what you guys think. Until the next video, Kubo! I mean Quay! Black Chocobo Quay!